Steve Evans, first of all, on the way home from Carlisle, what was the mood like in the coach? Was it happy with the point or could have been more?
Yeah, I think frustrated in all honesty. It's amazing how different people see the game, isn't it? Reading some of the words afterwards, 2 home penalties and different things. Listen, that's gone now. I think we're on the back end of 1 or 2 rough decisions, but it happens. Not question the referee; he's a good young referee. But we felt a little bit frustrated, particularly in that last 20, 25 minutes when I thought that we had enough in our locker to go and win the game, but not to be. You know, the 2 or 3 chances that come, I think Gills misses a good opportunity. Luke Norris misses a good opportunity. You know, Michael Boswick gets a strike, should play Alec Gilby in and goal. So a few lot of frustrating moments, but hey, everyone on the big hearts, and that's what we're going to need in the next 10 games.
10 games to go, with promotion in our own hands. Who would have thought that this time last year?
That's an amazing turnaround. I think you, from where we were to last year, I think we've got, someone said to me, over double the points for the same amount of games that we've played. So that's an incredible turnaround from the players and the staff. But 10 games to go. If you'd have written the programme back in the summer when we were 60-61 for promotion, the outsiders of the whole of League Two, then we'd have taken it. But you've achieved nothing with 10 to go. And we're arguably, one of the best squads. If you could pick just a squad in the league, one of the best, not necessarily when I say it's the best, because I think there's a number of teams, but one of the best in Salford who come here on Saturday, and people have questioned at times what goes on up there, but I think I said it before we lost up there earlier in the season. I've got nothing but admiration for what Gary and Giggsy and Scholesy and Nicky Butt now leading it as chief exec in a different area for him, and Woodsy the manager. So we've got a real tough game on Saturday, but that peg will go and it'll be 9 to go. So I think everyone will say 10 cup finals. I'll say it's 1 cup final at a time. We can't think of what happens beyond Salford, and we know we will need to be at our very best to add to a points tally. Never mind get all 3.
Saturday will be a tough game, as you said, but looking at our home form, that must fill you with confidence. You must be confident we could get a positive result.
Listen, I'm more than pleased that Alfie with our form, to be fair. I think we all know we went through that 3-4 weeks where a lot of individuals' forms had dipped. I listened to Jordan Roberts talking last week when he spoke a bit. Probably most of the group, if you like, had a dip. Alec Gilby said that again on Saturday, and they were right. But for the last 4 or 5 games, the squad has almost risen from the ashes, haven't they? They've come up and we're producing some really best of the season performance. I think we did that in spells at Carlisle, not complete performance, but we did it in spells on the back of 2 great wins. So we're back at home. We know what we need to do. We need to try and get the win if we can, and then move forward to the next one. So it literally is one focus, one game, one final, and then see where we go after that.
These final 10 games, is that where you're going to see the best of your players?
I believe so, and I believe so because we've got some real big characters in the dressing room. We've when big games have come, these boys have stood up and produced big performances. Not always win, but big performances. And so we're going to have to give ourselves a chance of winning on Saturday by producing big performances, 1 to 11, 1 to 14, if 1 to 16 if you use the subs. So from that point of view, it's an exciting game to look forward to. For the Stevenage public's point of view, for the supporters' point of view, this is bigger than Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient was donks ago. We've got all about that. I can't even remember. Well, I do remember. Everyone remembers a 3-0 win. But I don't even want to remember it. What I want is that type of performance. Again, for me, pound for pound, as I said to you, player for player, as good as anything in the league. And probably there's a lot of frustration at Salford as to they've been underachieving where they should be, in my opinion. But I still think they'll be in the playoffs or the automatics at the end of this.
We've been speaking for, seems like months now, where our next game is the biggest game of the season, but Saturday really is one of the biggest, and we're going to need all the support we can get from the
town.
Yeah,
I think we need the town to come out. They were absolutely brilliant in recent weeks. Frustrations crept in. When we had our last couple of home games, the back-to-back games, the Saturday and the Tuesday, we knew we had to produce big performances to win those games. And at key stages in those games, the supporters got us through that. Go back earlier in the season where we were really at it in performances, like Leyton Orient, the town realised how important it was. Well, it goes into pale significance what that was to what Saturday is. So Saturday's a big game, but so will Northampton be. So will, I think it's after that we've Doncaster. So these games are, is it Colchester, sorry. So I think these games will come very quickly. 6 weeks and we're finished. Or we're in the playoffs. Or we're finished because we've not made either.
And you mentioned the playoffs there, but even if we do fall into playoffs, it still feels like it's an overachieving season.
No, listen, we have one objective, which is to finish in the top three. We have that in our hands. No one else does, and we want to retain it in our hands. I know things can happen tonight and things can happen Saturday, and it goes out your hands, so to speak. But we have to try and retain that right, whether it's in our destiny, and we decide that destiny if we win the games. We know what we need to achieve in terms of points average per game over the next 10 to say we'd be in that top group. But if it is the playoffs, we'll be ready. I think I look back at previous seasons. Who could have been more disappointed last year than Northampton and Barrow? I said earlier in the season what I thought on that day was completely wrong. But they still rose from the ashes in Barrow to almost being in League One. But we have to focus not about playoffs, not about automatics, not about nothing, other than Salford on Saturday, because it's going to be one tough game against top players on this level.
There's been a lot of talk over the last few days about the points that we need to get where we want to be, between 80 and 85 points. Do you have a number in mind that you'd like to achieve?
Yeah, 1, 2 or 3 in the league to finish. I think we all know the Runaway Express, the champions-elect Leyton Orient, have got that gap. So I think we can all see that happening. And you've probably, in realistic terms, got 6 fighting for 2 places. We're one of them. Obviously, you've got now Northampton, you've got Carlisle, that could keep going. You've probably got more than 6 now, so you probably get 8 that'll fight for those 2 places, and then the rest will fight their way into the playoffs. If you look at Mansfield go to Stockport and get a last-minute goal to draw, very much sets them up for when they play Grimsby tomorrow. So it's all exciting around League Two. League One, all the leagues are exciting. If you look at the Runaway Express at Burnley in the Championship, every league is really exciting at the top end and the bottom end. And we just need to make sure that points make prizes tend to go.
And this is the best part of the season, isn't it? These final 10 games. This is why all those games previous have led up to 10 games to go, and anything can happen now.
Yeah, we're fortunate, aren't we? You can see on my shoulder, we're lucky. We've got real good investment from the chairman and the training ground here. The pitches are in fantastic condition, so thank you to the ground staff. They've been brilliant all season with this. We've come in, we're nice and fresh today. The boys are in, they're bouncing in the building, and we're ready to go. We just need to make sure if we don't produce a big performance on Saturday, we don't get a point. There needs to be a minimum of big performance to get 1, to have a really big performance to get 3. And but we're in good form. I think people said to me, I think I said to you when I went to Walsall, we're in a crisis. No, we're still in a crisis when we leave Carlisle. And I hope we're still in a crisis when we come out of Barrow at the end of the season, so because that'll say that we've been promoted. So it's we're in a good place. But how football talking 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were in a good place within the training camp and within the structure of the group, but everyone was looking to point the guns at us. So we just need to separate from that. And as I said to you, deal with a super Salford team who I watched lose at Crewe last week. Okay, they lost, but they should have. We know what the game should have been like. So it's going to be tough for us. And
even looking past Salford and Northampton, the next 2 are really, really vital in what any movement's going to happen in that top 7 group.
Yeah, listen, Northampton will take care of itself. We know John's done a fine job there with Kelvin, the owner. And then again, they're another team with top players. Where if you're asking me who we'd rather be playing, we'd rather be playing these teams. It's a real identity of whether we can be good enough to deal with the top teams of this league, whether they can be good enough to deal with us. It's both ways. I think we demonstrated on Saturday. We went to play Carlisle on the back of 4 straight wins in brilliant form. Could beat Bradford tonight away. It wouldn't surprise me. But we just looked after ourselves. We went there and we just a real solid performance and should have won. So if I'm thinking the same on Saturday, the minimum I know is I've got a very good performance. And you have to believe as a manager or a coach that if you get very good performances, you win the game. But it's going to take all of us. It's going to take the coaching staff this week to get our plans and preparations right for the game. It's going to need 2 or 3 players to come out of the treatment room and train towards tomorrow and Thursday, ready for to be available for selection Thursday, Friday. It's going to need our supporters to come in good numbers on Saturday and get right behind us. And if ever a football club needed its town to back it, Saturday.
That's great.